Hey friends! I'm on spring break, and so is my cat. And I had all these ideas of videos that I wanted to film, and I was like, yeah, gonna do these things. But they were all kind of angsty, and I'm not feeling even the slightest bit angsty right now. And so today we are just going to uh, be experiencing things that are so great. So, for example, this one. This is so great. Look at how great. So yeah, you guys are in for some weirdness. Let's do it. This little box that Allison got. So great, right? These shoes. So great. So today when I was looking up things to talk about in like earth sciencey fields, everything was so depressing. It was like everything's going extinct and the water levels are rising, and that's not great. But what is great is this article about a bacteria that biodegrades one of the most durable forms of plastic, polyethylene terephthalate. They said there was like 61 million tons of this plastic produced worldwide in 2013 alone. And before, the only thing that could break it down was rare fungi. But now they have this bacteria. It is this, I don't know how to say it. Let's give it a nickname. We're going with IDSAC for short. That breaks this stuff down. And it has two different enzymes. One breaks it down into like an intermediate substance, and then the other one breaks it down even further. And it's just so cool because this little bacteria, this little id sac, can help us dig ourselves out of this trash shithole that we have gotten ourselves into. And I think that's so freaking great. All right, the next thing that is just so great is this human being, Ashima Shiraishi, and she is now 15. She is a climber, and she, at 14, achieved the hardest boulder climb ever done by a woman, which, I mean, a V15 is the rating. She's the youngest male or female ever to do so, and even like a lot of male climbers would not be able to do a V15. Um, and she's remarkable for so many reasons. A lot of people have been, or a lot of dudes, I'm not even going to say people, a lot of dudes have been talking about how because she's so young and so therefore her like joint and muscle elasticity is, she's more flexible, she has a lower body weight, but she also, like, first of all, that's bogus. Like, everybody's working with what they got and you don't get to make excuses for or against it. um, but also, most climbers who would be climbing something like this climb full time. She's a student as well, and on her breaks she goes, does these, like, finds a couple problems, kicks their asses, and then goes back to school. So she's a remarkable climber, one of the best in the world at 15. She just did this incredibly difficult bouldering problem. And she's talking about, in the article that I'll post below, and I'll try and post some other videos of her too. Um, she talks about how she thinks that sport climbing is one of those arenas in which women could take the lead because you don't rely purely on just bulky muscle strength. And in fact, that can sometimes be a hindrance. So she's, rocking her skill, but also, using her power and her voice as a feminist. I just think she's so remarkable. So Ashima is so freaking great.
It's a day. So great.
So, real talk, I spend too much time on Tumblr. But one of the wonderful things that has come of that is I found some great blogs. And this blog, Superheroes in Full Color, the URL is superheroesincolor.tumblr.com, is awesome. And I have ended up purchasing several comic books because of this website. It's like it sounds, uh, blog curated around comics that center on people of color. There's more queer representation. Um, and I've just had such a lovely time getting my brain opened up to things that perhaps I would not have before. They also do, the whoever curates this also does some like sci-fi stuff. They talk about like cosplay and action figures, and it's just really badass. One of the comics that Tumblr recommended, which I got, was Rat Queens. And if you are a person that likes graphic novels or is just looking for something that has like better representation of women and people of color and the queer community, I would highly recommend checking this out because I've only read like probably 3/4 of the way through the first one, and I'm enjoying the fuck out of it already. And it's not a kid's book unless you want your kids reading about sex and drugs and rock and roll, but it's awesome. It's a really cool comic. So, Rat Queens and Superheroes in Color are so great.
Great. So great.
So, obviously, the greatest of all things is breakfast food. So, I'm going to make some butter pecan pancakes and we're going to listen to some Zeppelin because they're great. So the brown butter pecan pancakes are delightful. I'll put a link in the thingy, but these are so great. I hope your day is so great. Ah! Yeah, maybe I'll even see you next week.